Good afternoon. It's been a while since I posted. It's been a long week. On Monday was my daughter Adelie's first occupational therapy session. Basically, that session was more all about breaking down what was her sensory disorder. Um, I was aware that she had sensory process it no wait process it processing disorder, sensory processing disorder. I was aware of this. I had a couple of concerns since she was younger, but I had talked to the doctor about it, and the doctor was like, well, maybe it's an age thing, it's nothing to worry about. But as she got older, I've seen that her behavior got worse when it came to wearing certain kind of clothes. She went from telling me it bothers me to me pulling out and her freaking out, like stockings, certain dresses, certain things that feel too tight, she doesn't like to wear. Certain foods she won't eat. I'll say she has phobia of certain bugs, and like if she'll see a bug on the stairs, and the next day she won't go through the stairs, she'll make me carry her up the stairs, or she'll have like an anxiety attack in her mind that the bug is in there. Um, so I finally pushed the doctors to give me a referral so I could get her evaluated. They evaluated her. I got the paper. I read it. I went through it, and I was okay. But when you've been broken down exactly what she has and what they were gonna work on and things like that, it kind of hit me hard. Only because it's not that I was gonna say she was supposed. I told the therapist flat out she was supposed to be the one who had no disability, or in my mind, when she was born, I prayed, and all these things. But I was aware. Kingston was my firstborn. He had autism, and already by the time Prince was 4, almost 5, I had pushed for him to get diagnosed with ADHD. But he has ADHD and anxiety, and his anxiety is real bad, especially now. I started to see that it's getting worse as he gets older. But I'm really looking forward for soccer in the spring. My husband signed up both Princeton and Adelise, and this is gonna be amazing because not only did the therapist told me for Adelise that she has sensory issues as far as clothing, but sometimes she's so overwhelmed with everything in school that she has to let some energy out. She's always constantly on the go, and I told her this. Look, she's running all the time. She's running, 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 and like there's no stopping her. Like she's just go, 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 go. And she told me that that doesn't surprise her. I told her, look, at school the teacher doesn't see none of this. From what I've been told, the teacher, I have asked the teacher, hey, have you noticed this in my daughter? And they told me no. And the therapist told me it doesn't surprise her. At school, she has to be a certain way, what's expected of her. And then when she comes home, she's like a totally different person. Sometimes she just goes from being real tired and crying and going to sleep, or just real tired and going to bothering Princeton, or is constantly running in the house, or sometimes she's just crying because she's so tired and she'll pass out. But it's not like, okay, I'm tired, mom, I'm gonna go take a nap. It's like her going in through these modes or certain levels and then finally goes to sleep. But they're gonna work on her eating, on her getting dressed, little by little, trying to cope on what could she tolerate, and instead of just going straight meltdown to like talking through it, because right now Adelise doesn't have that. This is what's wrong with me. She'll go straight into crying, and she has cried for like 20 minutes. I have dealt with this. Um, but like I said, seeing it and hearing it, the breakthrough of her diagnosis wasn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be. She's my princess. But I've been down this road twice. This is my third time. I thought it was gonna be a little easier than what it was, but it wasn't. It wasn't at all. It's like hearing a diagnosis, whether it's autism, ADHD, the sensory disorder. It still hits you no matter how many times you've been down this road. And honestly, I kind of cooped myself up this week because of that. But I just told the Lord and prayed on it, and I asked God to give me the strength because now I have okay occupational therapy, and she also was like, it works hand in hand, occupational therapy with play therapy, especially with her anxiety. Like, it will help her even more if you do both. So not only am I now having to go ahead and set these appointments, but spring is coming and soccer, and I'm heavily involved in church and everything else that consists of that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm just one of me. But I did pray to God, and just, I'm like, God, you are God, and you are in control of time, and you're in control of everything. Please give me the wisdom to be able to manage my time wisely, especially now with all this stuff that's going on. Um, I posted about how my mornings are, and some people were like, well, why you don't get somebody to help you during the morning? The thing is that Kingston kind of graduated already from his TSS and his BSc because he used to get it at home. Kingston is at a stage right now where he doesn't need the help at home. He does get help at school. He's is in an autism support classroom. He does get speech therapy, and they give him his OT breaks and things like that that he needs at his school. As far as Princeton goes, Princeton has an IEP, and they are working on it, and he does get extra time for his tests, and they always working on him as far as whatever help he needs. I work hand in hand with all my children's teachers, but in the mornings it's just me. My husband's at work, and it does get a little crazy, but for now it's either or. Sometimes Kingston's okay, sometimes Kingston's not okay. Sometimes Kingston was up all night, wake up Princeton, then I'm sending Princeton back to sleep, and then all of a sudden I'm having all three kids up by 6. When the only one who should be up, and if up at that time, is Kingston. Princeton and Adelise don't go to school till 8:45. So I tried the earliest to get them up is at 7:45 to give me more or less an hour for them. But Kingston usually be my first one up, and he wakes everybody up. But now I sometimes feel like there's three of them and one of me, and three different needs and one of me. So I do feel like I'm being pulled all kind of directions because at least now, from what I could understand from the therapist, told me that not only does she have sensory processing disorder as far as what she could tolerate, but she also needs to let out her energy. Like, sometimes she just needs some occupational therapy because she needs to just let out some of this energy. She is very active. I was like, oh, so does that mean I might be getting a ADHD diagnosis? She was like, no, not necessarily. But, and I asked, maybe does she has Asperger? I mean, I did get her evaluated for autism, but she doesn't have autism. She told me not to jump into conclusions, to just work one thing at a time with her, and that's where I'm at right now. But as a mom, I think a lot. I think a lot. Sometimes I can't shut my brain down. I can't. And at the end of the day, I feel like I have ADHD. Like, now that I'm older and I'm starting to um, recognize and try to help my son more and try to understand him more. Because sometimes we tend to base behaviors on, oh, that's him being disrespectful, oh, that's him being, bad, or a bad choice, this, that, and the third. Some of these behaviors he can't help. Now, not saying that I applaud him, but I make it known to him, you need to slow down. You need to think before you react. You need to be mindful. The same thing with my daughter. Sometimes my daughter comes out rude to some people or to some other children, and it's not that she's being like that. She just says how she feels. Like, for example, the other day somebody drew something and she didn't like it, and she's like, "Oh, I don't like it," or "I don't want it." But that's not, she's not coming off rude. She's being truthful. But I'm trying to teach them to be mindful, to try not to hurt other people's feelings, that we don't like our feelings being hurt. We have to just be consisting of what we say and how we say it, type of thing with Princeton and Adelise, because sometimes they come off like they're rude kids, and they're not. I try. They are very nice children. Everywhere I go, their school. Oh my God, Princeton and Adelise, even Kingston, they're such well behaved children, and I'm very proud of that. But it takes a lot of at home work, and sometimes I find myself dealing with them so much that I'm like, oh, when are they gonna get it? But when you do get that, oh, they're doing so good at school, and oh my goodness, they're so well behaved, and I just be like, huh, are you sure you're talking about my kid? But yeah, it's a process. It's a process, and I'm just taking it one day at a time, one need at a time, and one child at a time, because, oh Lord Jesus, it could get a handful. But if you guys have any questions or have anything for me to learn about, especially right now, I feel like I'm entering the processing, sensory processing disorder. I feel like this is a new journey for me, a new chapter in my life, and me and Adelise are gonna get into this together, because whatever the therapist says and whatever she suggests and whatever she tells me, I'm the type of person who I like to take it in and practice it at home, because at the end of the day, they can only do so much for 30 minutes. Everything they do and everything they're trying to help my children with, it's my job to bring it home and help the kids every day through it, and whatever tools they give me, the therapist, to bring it at home, because it's going to be beneficial for my life and my children's life. It's something that's going to help them. And that's what I told the therapist, and she's like, oh my goodness, that's what I love to hear. So, like I said, let's see how this goes, and I'm praying it gets better with Adelise, because right now it could be too much. Her crying, she cries a lot, and sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, stop being such a baby. You're not a baby. Us parents sometimes ourselves too, we don't filtrate what we're saying, but it's just at the moment, at the frustration, at the time, I find myself walking away for a second, calming myself down, and coming back and trying to calm her down for whatever reason she's crying. But I have found lately she's just overwhelmed with everything. Sometimes she's like overstimulated with a lot of things, with school, with what she has on, her being tired. And then right after school, sometimes she gets 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 3 hours and a half before I have to go to church, and it's just too much for her. So I'm just trying to take it one day at a time, one child at that time, and one need at a time. That's my motto. So have a great day, everyone. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend. Oh, yes, it's Friday. I made it through the week. Thank you, Jesus. Again, have a beautiful and wonderful and blessed weekend. God bless you guys. And thank you for hearing me ranting on.